What's up, guys? This is Shock Sensei here, and today I'm here to bring you guys a deck profile of my Freezer Messiah deck profile. I've been playing this deck recently for the past month, and the reason why I built this deck is around my locals, a lot of players are playing Chaos Breaker, and this is a really, really good way to counter Chaos Breaker. I play Chaos Breaker myself, and the mirror match is kind of back and forth. This one is just completely one-sided. You unlock everything they lock. So let's. I'm gonna break the deck down for you guys, and yeah, let's show what we got here. So the first we have our starter is Neon Messiah. When you unlock him, Generation Break 1, when you unlock him, you can put him in the soul, search your deck for a grade 3 with Messiah. That's card name. So really good. Next up. We have Alter Ego Messiah. Skill is Generation Break 2. Whenever a card unlocks, you can Soul Blast 1 for each card that unlocks. You draw a card. When you shot on top of him, you can Counter Blast 1, lock one of your rear guards, and lock one of your opponent's rear guards. And your Stride gets plus 5k. So, really good. Next up, we have the 4 copies of Freezer Messiah. At first, I was debating on playing this card, and I went to, I believe, like an ARG, I think 2 months ago, and this deck did end up winning. And I played him the first round. I played Chaos Breaker, and he played Messiah with Freeze Ray, and it worked. It worked to his advantage. And I'm like, well, I want to know what the Freeze Ray is for. The more I play tested with this card, the more better it is. It stops your opponent from going off. Especially, it stops Gear Chronicle too from going off. His skill is whenever you take damage, you lock one of your opponent's rear guard. Now, if you're at Limit Break 4, you still get the same skill, but each time you lock a card, it gets plus 3k. So it's really, really good. I'm sorry, I'm a little sick. I'm trying to get over it. But it's really, really good when you have. When you're playing your defensive plays, so like when your opponent's going off, you're just like, no, if you're gonna stand, lock that card. Now you can't stand. It's really good when the Limit Break 4 happens. So when you lock a card, you get plus 3k. So that means there's more stuff like Sacrifice Messiah. His skill is whenever you lock a card, whenever a card gets locked, you lock him, unflip 1 damage, and you give one of your cards plus 3k. So if you take a damage, you lock one of your opponent's rear guards. And then you sacrifice Messiah's effect, and you lock you lock him, and you unflip 1, and you give him also another plus 3k. So he's sitting at 16k by himself. That means your opponent has to swing with a 16k in order to attack with him. So it's really good. Him being in 10k kind of sucks. That's the only bad part about him, but he's really good. I like him a lot. So, for him. Nothing about him. I wouldn't play him if you're like at 5 damage. Like when you're at this is a really good card if you're at 1 or 2 damage, and then when you get to Limit Break 4, you're fine. But when you get to 5 damage, you need to stride into Messiah as fast as possible, because that's when your defensive plays are over. Because if you take another damage, you can't lock a card because you'll lose. So pretty much. Next up, we have 4 copies of Arrestor Messiah. His skill is when you call him, if you have a Messiah card name as your Vanguard, it could be grade 3 or greater. Lock this card when it gets plus 2k, so it becomes 11k attacker. At the end of the turn, you lock this card, and you can lock 1 card from either player's back row. So it has combo pieces with Amnesty Messiah. It has combo pieces with the other Messiahs I run. I can't remember his name. Exelis, I think. Exelis Messiah. But he's really, really good. And if you stride on top of him, remember, you can still do the skill, because like as long as the card is Messiah, like as long as the stride card is Messiah, you can still do a skill. So don't be worried if you have to stride on top of him. But yeah, so 4 copies of him, really good. He only gets the effect when he's called. So after that turn, it's kind of much dead. We have 4 copies of Lady Battler of the Gravity Wall. Her skill is you lock one of your cards. It's Generation Break 1, lock one of your cards, and this unit gets plus 4k. So, really good. what I like to do, I like to lock my chameleon. Wow, that's a lot to say. I like to lock my chameleon so that way when it unlocks, I get to unflip a damage. So, really good. Next up, we play 2 of the Boost Counterblast 1 lock card. Really good. I may want to bump them up to 3. I just don't have a 3rd copy. Yeah, but he's really good. The card that I don't, the card that I have instead of the 3rd one is Awakening Messiah. For a long time, I did play this card just as attack. It really didn't help. I really didn't use it. I've used Awakening Messiah more than this card. But if you want, you could take out this card and play a 3rd copy of this, which is completely fine. But his skill is when he unlocks, stand one of your rested rear guards, and it gets plus 2k power. So really good. For the grade 1s, we're gonna have 4 PG on flippers. You combo blast a lot in this deck. You need the unflipping, that's why. With that. We play 4 copies of Sacrifice Messiah. This card is probably the best grade 1 in this deck, to tell you the truth. Whenever you lock a card, Generation Break 1, you lock this card. You get to unflip a damage when you do, and you choose one of your units that gets plus 3k. This sets up for most of your Messiah plays when you have to unlock 3 cards. If so, say for example, I usually have 3 of these in the back row, or at least 2, and then a Chameleon in the back row. And this card is just so good. Being able to Generation Guard with the card that's I'll show you. Jesus, I keep forgetting. DM Maxwell, I believe. Yeah, DM Maxwell is his name. When you Generation Guard with this card, you lock one of your rear guards. And you can just use Sacrifice Messiah skill, Sacrifice Messiah skill. Now you just unflip 2 damage, and you gain plus 6k on top of the rate 25k. So it makes a lot of your defensive plays really, really good. So yeah. Next up, 4 Stride Fighters. You need a Stride in this deck, unfortunately. Striding is your main goal. Striding is how you get all your skills off. Striding is how you get your pressure in this deck. So 4 Stride Fighters. 2 Chameleons. Whenever you lock this card, at the end of the turn when it gets unlocked, you have to unflip a damage, and he has resist, so it's really good. Stops a little Kagero shenanigans, stops their stuff, but they can still get through it sometimes. So, yeah. And then for the triggers, we're in 4 crit. 4 of the Messiah crit. When it goes in the soul, draw a card. It gets plus 5k. You need the soul for Messiah. So if you want to draw cards. Also another tip. Wow, I'm losing my voice. Also another tip: when you have Messiah on the field, don't abuse his skill where you get the draw card, because this deck really draws a lot, and you can deck out. There's no way of putting cards back in your deck except for the next card I'm about to show you. Just be really, really careful by using his skill. Don't get greedy and start drawing cards like off the bat. Only draw cards when you need to play defensive plays or when you think you don't have a stride or anything like that. So, just a tip. Just a tip. And then we play 4 of the Star Vader crit. You don't need it. I mean, freeze rate is a Star Vader, so you can't lock a card during the defensive plays. And remember, if freeze rate is at limit break 4, you get plus 3k. But we use it for for not decking out. This is why we do this. It says you need Star Vader as your Vanguard to get the lock effect. That's perfectly fine if you have Messiah on the field. You really just want to put this card back in the deck. You still get the effect if you put it back in the deck and you shuffle. You still get the effect no matter what. The only effect you don't get is the locking the back row unit. So, really good. Then we have, of course, 4 heals for the Generation Break Guard. So, I just say Generation Break Guard. I mean Generation Guard. Alright, next up we're going to go to the G-Zone. Let's just start off right here, because this card has saved me a lot of games. I call this card Spaghetti, but you can call it Tranzelli's Messiah. This card is really good, and if you can work around this card, it makes your plays kind of broken. What you do is, on top of Messiahs, you have a grade 3 card Messiah in its name. Counterblast 1, it's Generation Break 2, so you can't use this right away, but it's really good. Counterblast 1, lock all rear guards, and any rear guards that are locked get unlocked. So your opponent both lock all your rear guards, and any rear guards that are locked, they get unlocked. What I like to do is I like to use Messiah's effect first, because they both go off at the same time. Use Messiah's effect first, lock one of my cards that I know could be useful, and then use his skill where I get to lock. And then at the end of the turn, if you're at G-Break 2, obviously you get to Soul Blast and draw your card. So really, really good. I'm gonna when the new card comes out, I believe the next set, I think it comes out this Friday as I'm uploading this video. You can play 2 of these for the new Messiah, for Floget, whatever you want to call it. But this card has won me so many games, just because I like to lock my opponent's field all in one shot. Really stops their plays from happening, so it's up to you, preference-wise. I think I would rather play this other than the Floget. That's just my opinion. Yeah, so yeah. And it's just like cripples Link Joker. Like when they lock, when Chaos Breaker, my bad, locks your field, and you just go boom, I unlock all the cards that you just locked, and all your cards are now locked. So really, really good. Next one, we play one Judgment Messiah. When it hits, lock a card and then unlock a card. So you can lock your starter and then unlock your starter. Depends what you want to do. Really, really good. I mean, you can't really say nothing about this card. It's just a on-hit stride type of deal. This is to get me to Generation Break 2. You know, this is probably the first stride I go into. Or you can go into... I'm going to keep this out here. Or you can go into Blizza. The reason why I run Blizza is because you can get to Generation Break 2 faster. So you can start drawing faster if your opponent's really, really rushing you down, if anything like that. So... Next up, we have 3 Messiahs. Unfortunately, this card went down in price for the secondary market, but it's good for us. It's really good for us because the card really need a reprint. So if you guys want to build this deck, I'm pretty sure everything in this deck is really, really cheap now. Maybe it's gone up just because of the Messiah hype, but it'll go down. But I believe this card now is like $15 off the reprint. So if you ever want to build this deck, now's the time to do it. Counterblast 1, unlock 3 cards. You can unlock as many cards as you want, and it gets plus 3k for each card you unlock. And if you unlock 3 or more cards, it gets a plus 1 critical. So, really good. We won Run 1, wow. Exilus Messiah. The same effect as regular Messiah. Counterblast 1, but you have to flip a Messiah card face up. You unlock cards from you and your opponent's side. Each card that gets unlocked on your opponent's side gets retired, and each card that gets unlocked on your side gets plus 3k. And if you unlock more than 3 cards, it gets critical. So it's really good at taking out your opponent's field and stuff like that. I don't know why. I just checked to see if my camera's still recording, but it is. Really, really good card. It makes so if you think that your opponent's not going to refill his field, you can do that. Depending on what you do. Don't really unlock his cards that much, but if he has like 3 cards in hand and you can just pop his field, then he has to put more cards on the field, and then that way you can hit with crits later in the game. So, really good. Next up, we run 2 big crunches. I think 2 is a good number. Counterblast 1, flip a copy of Big Crunch face up, and you Omega Lock a front row and a back row unit, or a column, basically. So, yeah. So just a column, it gets Omega Locked. Really good for stalling out your opponent. And setting up for your MST plays, or any Messiah plays. Next up, the G Guardians, we're going to run 3 copies of Demon Maxwell. When you G Guardian against this card, lock a card on your side of the field, and it gets plus 5k. This is when you go into... What's this card? Sacrifice Messiah, and then you just make defensive plays. And you can, like I said, I usually have 2 of these on the field. I use that, lock, and then lock, unflip, and then it's too good. It's too good. And then these also set up for your Messiah turns too. So, really good. So yeah, and then last Guardian's going to be one screw. You do draw a lot in the deck, so take discarding one card is not that bad. If you want, you could run 2 screws instead of this, but I like these because these set up your Messiah plays, and they're really good for your defensive plays. So yeah. That's it for the deck. I do want to have like a little quick conversation of running this deck. Like I said, pretty much, I'm pretty sure the deck is very, very cheap to build as of right now. It may have gone up in price, but it'll go back down in price no matter what. All you just need is basically the trial deck and some cards from, I believe, set 4 or 6, 4 or 5 maybe. I don't know. But like I said, with this with this deck, the reason why I'm gonna run the 12 crit. I don't like to draw, and the reason why I don't want to draw triggers is because I don't like to draw too much. Alright guys, sorry about that. My camera ran out of battery, but we're all good now. Where I left off is the reason why I don't want to draw triggers is because you're already drawing a lot. You don't need to draw more, and especially if you're running crits, I'd rather draw into a 10k instead of a 5k. This deck is really good. It's really good in the right meta. If you can kind of predict the meta, especially if it's going to be a lot of field reliant stuff, usually play this deck. This deck's really only bad matchup is Gears and Kagero, which is kind of sad just because it's kind of the better decks in this format. So sad to say, but like I said, give this deck a try. Build it for yourself. It's very, very cheap actually, especially when the Messiah stuff went down. So yeah, if you want to build it, if you ever want to build it, now's the time to build it and see if you like it. Thank you guys for watching. Comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And yeah, hopefully we have more content by this week or next week. I tried recording this week. It turned out to be a bust. And all that's good stuff. If you want to know when we're going to have live streams, I post it up on my Twitter. And if you're part of Vanguardians or anything like that, I usually post it up on there. Any live stream that happens right there. So thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. Yep.